This is a survey of common biomolecules. Many different types of molecules are vital to carrying out the complex functions that support life. Water makes up 55 to 60% of body mass, while organic compounds like proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, and nucleic acids make up about 40%. Carbohydrates. Monosaccharides, such as glucose and fructose, are used to produce energy for cell metabolism. Disaccharides, commonly found in nutrients, are broken down in the digestive system into monosaccharides. An example of disaccharide is sugar sucrose. Polysaccharides, mostly glycogen in our body, are stored as energy reserves in the liver and skeletal muscles. A few carbohydrates, such as monosaccharide deoxyribose, are structural elements in nucleic acids. Lipids. The simplest of the lipids in our body are triglycerides. They're composed of a molecule of glycerol and three fatty acids that are attached to it, and these are the body's most highly concentrated form of stored energy. Phospholipids, on the other hand, have a polar head that dissolves in water and a nonpolar tail that does not. They are the structural components of the cell membrane bilayer. Steroids, such as cholesterol, estradiol or estrogen, testosterone, and cortisol, are lipids that all have four carbon rings and act as regulating hormones. The different groups attached to the basic series of carbon rings gave steroid hormones many different functions, including regulation of metabolism, stimulation of reproductive functions, and regulation of calcium levels. Eicosanoids, such as prostaglandin, are small lipids that participate in many body functions, including modification of hormone action, the inflammatory responses, blood clotting, and allergic responses. Proteins are composed of strings of amino acids that coil up and fold over upon themselves. The many functions of proteins are linked to their shapes, which are determined by the sequence of these amino acids and the ways that the coils are constructed. Here are several examples of the most important proteins. The first example are contractile proteins. Contractile proteins such as myosin and actin that are found in skeletal muscles work together to make muscle cells shorten. Catalytic proteins. Catalytic proteins are also known as enzymes, and they're usually found in plasma membrane and act as catalysts that speed up chemical reactions. Blood proteins. Hemoglobin is one example of blood proteins. This one is found in red blood cells, and it is involved in transporting oxygen and some carbon dioxide throughout the body and helps regulate blood pH. Immunological proteins. Antimicrobial proteins like interferons in the blood and interstitial fluids diffuse into the body cells in response to pathogens. Protein receptors in plasma membranes specifically recognize foreign substances or antigens, such as microbes or parts of microbes. Antibodies, such as immunoglobulins, are proteins produced when triggered by a specific antigen. Antibodies attach to the antigens and act to disable them. Structural proteins. Structural proteins link cells together to form tissues. They provide support and stability for various regions of the body, such as the fibers in connective tissues. Examples of structural proteins in connective tissues include elastic fibers, reticular fibers, and collagen fibers. Regulatory proteins. Regulatory proteins are hormones such as insulin, which aids in lowering blood glucose levels. Other protein hormones control growth and development, participate in responses to the nervous system, and affect other physiological processes. And finally, membrane transport proteins. Proteins embedded in the plasma membrane transport ions as well as polar molecules into and out of cells.